Yo, what up? It is 10:38 p.m., June 30th. Just making another knife review. My bad, I haven't made a video in a while, or I was gonna make one last week, but I didn't. I try to make a video about once a week, but really, I make videos whenever the fuck I want. If I want to make one once every 2 weeks or once every 3 weeks, that's what I'm gonna do. But for the past month or month and a couple weeks, I've been doing one like once a week. But I recently got a second job, so I've been really fucking burnt out. I haven't had time to make videos at home. A lot of my videos I've made them while I'm at work. I work security, so I kind of just sit around and chill for most of my shift, so I have time to make videos and shit like that if I want to. But sometimes I make videos at home, but recently I haven't had time to make a video at home, so I said fuck it, I'm gonna try to do one today. So this is my Kershaw Lucha. I've showed this in a lot of videos, and I said fuck it, I'm finally gonna make a video on it and make a review. Overall length is 10.2 inch, 10.25, about 10 and a quarter. All my specs I'm reading off are from Blade HQ. Unless I just memorize them off the top of my head, then I'll just say what I know. The blade length is about 4.5 inches, 4.6 inches, just about the same as my Police 4. The handle length is about 6 inches, 5.8 inches they say. And the thickness is 0.16 inches, 0.16 on the thickness, USA made. I'm not sure who the fuck designed this. Maybe if it was, I think it was like multiple people at Kershaw, like collaboration or some shit, I don't know. I tried to look up who was the designer, it didn't say, it just says USA made, whatever the fuck. And the steel is 14C 28N. I never even heard of the steel. I didn't even know what the fuck this steel was until I got this knife. I thought it was a better steel. Not that it's a shitty steel, but I thought it was more of a higher grade steel than it actually is. It's kind of not high mid grades, but just kind of mid grade, maybe like a less than a AUS 8 or about the same, or a little better than a 440, something like that. I don't know. I'm not a steel expert, so I'm not sure exactly. I kind of go off of the steel tier list that I've seen online and shit when I kind of rate the steels or just my experience with them. I have another knife, a Kershaw. It's the bare knuckle, and it has the 14C, and it's performed very fucking well from my experience. Stainless steel handles, they're skeletonized, and if you can see right there, I haven't like submerged this knife in fucking water or anything like that. It's been wet, sweat and shit a little bit, but I kind of wipe it off, and the handle, the surface right there, it doesn't rust really, but right there, you can see on the inside of that little diamond shape and this little cutout, it just rusts really bad right there. Not terrible, but it's rusted quite a bit, and I've even got a Q-tip, put some, rubbing alcohol, 91%, and cleaned it off, and it's cleaned it up a bit, but it kind of has some permanent rust right there. So if that's something that bothers you, and just mentioning that, just letting you know, it's gonna rust right there a bit. And bearings, it has these captured bearings, if you can see. I've taken this knife apart a couple times and kind of lubed it up and Loctited it and shit. And I put a little bit of oil on it right there, so that's why it has like some dirt and fucking crud and shit right there. But the bearings, I think this is the first knife I've had with bearings, with like a captured bearing system like that, and it makes it smooth, yeah, but it's not as smooth as kind of everyone makes them out to be. But I guess if this knife didn't have that, if it just had like some bronze washers, it would be less smooth. But yeah, it's pretty smooth for, the weight of it being a big ass chunky knife. The bearings help smooth it out quite a bit. All right, I bought this knife on Blade HQ. It was about 120. It was like April 2020. I think it was close to like 420. And it was 119 or 120, yeah. And the first variant, if I'm not mistaken, it was like the all blacked out, like black stonewash version. That one was like 130, if I can remember. Now they're asking like 150 for that shit. And even this one, just the regular all stainless version with the 14C, I think they're asking like 130 for that shit now, this one. And the other one went up like 20 bucks in price. And I didn't even fucking know until recently. This is why you should, if you're into knives and shit, obviously you are if you're watching this video, just look on, the knife websites that you buy shit from, and you might be surprised. You'll see some shit or a variant of a blade that you didn't even know existed. That I guess they made, I'm not sure if it's aluminum handles, like skeletonized aluminum, but I think it's stainless steel like this one, or just steel. And they made like a red version. Like it has this, stonewash blade like this, not black stonewash. Or, oh no, shit, yeah, it is black stonewash. They have a black stonewash blade with OD green steel handles. And then they have a black stonewash blade with red steel handles. And I was like, holy shit, what the fuck? It looks really nice and I want to get it, but it's a little expensive for this knife with that steel. I would say they're asking 160 for it. If it was like 150, 140, I would definitely want to buy that shit, but I still might buy it later and maybe keep it as like, like a collectible piece, like a safe queen type shit, because I already have this one as my beater kind of balisong, so I wouldn't want to be flipping that one, fucking it up. As you can see right there, I didn't mention the edge. Like, I don't use this for like an EDC knife, cutting up shit, slicing up shit. I did when it was brand new, when I was in the honeymoon phase with it. But now that it's fucking 2 years old, I've kind of just used this as my dedicated flipper, like for my live blade and shit. And I've dropped this shit. If I had to estimate how many times I've dropped it, just to guess, maybe 450 times, something like that. I've dropped this knife over and over. And from the amount of times I've dropped it, I would have thought it would chip, maybe chip the blade a lot or some shit. Or even, you can see the tip it's got dented and fucked up and kind of rolled over, but I would think the tip would have snapped off even more, or just a big chunk of it or something like that. But being how durable it is and having that nice blade thickness, how it kind of retains that thickness towards the tip, it's held up very well. But yeah, it has somewhat of a sharp edge on some spots, but as you can see right there, it's all fucked up and it's dulled out from dropping it so many times. And something to mention, I wasn't very happy about when the knife was like brand fucking new and I was careful and everything. I'm kind of OCD the way I take apart knives and shit and put them back together. I make sure the Torx bit is, buried in there all the way, and I unloosen it slowly, and I'm pretty sure it's this screw right here. It just completely got all stripped out. Or which one is it? Or maybe it's this one. Oh yeah, it's this one. You can see that screw right there got just stripped the fuck out when I tried to take it apart, and I thought I wasn't going to be able to take it apart fully because of that. But if you're able to get out this one on that side, then this little barrel standoff spacer will just be stuck, to that handle. It'll still be screwed in. So I was able to take it apart. That's how I took off the latch right here. And I'm really glad I did that. And I just recently did that like maybe a month or two ago. And the whole rest of the time I had this fucking knife, I was flipping it with a goddamn heavy ass latch on there, and I didn't realize how heavy it was until I took it off, because it has the latch, the pin that goes through the latch, and then it has this for like the latch gate. There's like another pin that stops it from contacting the blade, which I wish all fucking balisong companies did, like Bear & Son. They don't have that, so on my Bear & Son, the latch touches the blade and it fucks up the tip of your blade. So just removing those 3 pieces of metal it made a huge fucking difference on the balance of the knife. It's even without the latch, you know, it's not the best flipper, but you can tell the difference having the latch on and taking it off. All right, the thickness, let me see. The thickness of the handle, obviously it's like a, you know, pillar construction, or not fucking pillar, it's two pieces together for the handle, so it's not like a channel construction like my Flightanium one. So it's gonna have a thick, you know, wide handle, like the thickness of it, the width of it like that. It has a slim handle that way, but you can see the thickness is maybe about the same or a little less than the Police 4. And the Squiddy, this is like a channel construction, fucking all plastic balisong. I'm not sure if this one is made out of PVC. Maybe it's something different than the original Squiddy. It's called a Squiddy B. Yeah, the Squiddy is definitely thicker than that shit. So it's a standard, you know, regular thickness for a fucking balisong handle. And the texture, when you're flipping this shit around, it doesn't really have that much grip texture, but it's not like really fucking slippery. If your hand is wet, sweaty, then yeah, it's gonna probably slip out of your hand. But those little skeletonized cutouts, kind of grooves, help you kind of grip it a little better in some spots when you're flipping it around. Maybe doing some fanning or some shit, or moves where you gotta like go like that in between your fingers and shit. Yeah, sometimes it'll slip out of my fucking hand. All right, let's do some comparisons. So yeah, you seen that? This is about the same size as it almost. The Lucha blade is just like a little bit longer. That's like a trainer and shit. And here's the Police 4. These knives are just about the same length, same blade length, and the handle's about the same length. All right. That's my Police 4, and I tried some of my comparisons. I've said this in other videos. Some of my comparisons, you know, might be a little ridiculous or some shit, but I try to bring knives when I'm doing a review I bring knives that I'm actually gonna use or some shit, you know, because I work security, so if I gotta fucking stab somebody, shank somebody out or some shit, I want to use a blade. You know, I don't want to be using a pair of 3 or some shit like that. So I always got this fucking blade on me. Always have my Police 4. I wouldn't really use this for self-defense. I mean, if I had to, I would, but I use this pretty much to cut up mangoes and shit like that. Or fucking an apple. And yeah, if you've seen my last video, I was talking about doing a blade swap, and if you recognize this knife, then yeah, the first time I pulled it out right here, you would have realized it was successful. The blade swap, this had a Bowie style clip point blade on it. And now it has a double-edged dagger blade, so I'm really fucking happy. Thank you, Boker, for making knives that are blade swappable, and it fit perfectly. No problems. Runs smoothly, so yeah, I'm really happy about that. So this, the Lucha's bigger than this Kalashnikov OTF, but yeah, smaller than the Voyager, obviously. So there's a little blade comparison. Here you go for the fuck of it. Victorinox Deluxe Tinker. I never showed the blade on this knife, but I mean, if you're into Victorinoxes or you've seen them before, you know, all the blades kind of fucking look the same. It's I don't know what the fuck you would call it. Just like a weird kind of, I don't know. I don't even know what the fuck to call it. I was gonna say a spear point or some shit, but it just kind of has its own blade style. Yeah. So for flipping, it's not the best flipper because of the weight of it. You know, someone who flips $300, $400, $500 balisongs, they're usually not fucking 6 ounces. Like this knife, I don't know if it's close to 8 ounces, but I think it's like 7.5, 7 something. 7 and some change, and this is 6 ounces, so seeing the fucking size of this goddamn knife, because it's so big, 7 ounces isn't too crazy, but for a knife this size, you know, this thin compared to the whole overall knife. 6 ounces, yeah, it's pretty fucking heavy. Like if you put this in a sock and beat the shit out of somebody with it, it wouldn't feel good. No. It is very fucking heavy for a balisong, so it's not the best flipper. Taking off that the latch helps a lot, but still having those solid steel fucking handles, well, not solid, but you know, what isn't skeletonized is solid. Having those steel handles, it just really weighs down the fucking knife. And my Flytanium Talisong, I'm not sure exactly how much the weight is. I think it's like 4 ounces or something. So just having those 2 ounces shaved off, it makes a huge fucking difference. And it's the same size knife. It has like a 4.5 inch blade on the Talisong, same size handles and shit. It's made out of aluminum. So having those channel aluminum handles really takes off a lot of the weight, and you notice the difference. So it's not the best flipper. It's really fucking heavy. It really beats the shit out of your knuckles, flipping it over and over. If you're used to having a lighter knife, yeah, you'll really feel that difference of it beating the shit out of your knuckles. But if this is the first balisong you've had, then you know you won't really notice it until you start flipping other knives. So yeah, it's not the best flipper, but for me, it's my dedicated flipper that I'm always fucking flipping. And if you had to use it for self-defense, it really wouldn't be a great option, because the way the handle shape, you know, your hand would kind of just sink in more towards the blade if you're stabbing something. And there are those little nubs right there, but that's not a fucking hilt at all. It's not going to keep your hand from slipping onto the blade. I mean, I guess if you had it like that and you fucking had your fingers kind of dug into those little grooves and maybe had your thumb like that too, then yeah, you could use it for self-defense. And obviously the blade style, the point. Sorry, I'm using a shitty phone, so it always fucking, the focus is fucked up. The point would just, you know, sail through fucking flesh, just sail through material, whatever you're fucking stabbing through, clothing. But obviously if you're going to be flipping it and shit, you know, the blade edge might get fucked up. So if you want to use it for self-defense, then make sure you have a nice sharp edge on there with a point that doesn't fucking look like that. But yeah, EDC, I wish it came with a pocket clip. That would be fucking awesome if you were able to put in a pocket clip on where these screws are at, or if it came with one stock from the factory, that would be great, because it has a nice latch that locks it in pretty good. So if it had a pocket clip, it would be a perfect EDC knife, but it doesn't have a pocket clip. So I mean, you can still EDC it. I've EDC'd this shit like within the first year and a half that I had it. I was carrying this shit all the time to work. Obviously, you know, not fucking comfortably like you would a knife like this or some shit with a pocket clip, you know. But yeah, you can make it work. What else? The lockup. Let me see. Like, I'm not gonna be able to show it that good. I don't really have it. You can see how loose the handle is. I don't have it like tightened down all the way on the screws. You can adjust it pretty good, but there's very little blade play, obviously, because it has some strong steel fucking handles, so they're not going to really flex and bend that much on the, you know, where the pivot is at. But yeah, it has a little bit of play. Obviously, you want your balisong to have some play. You don't want it to be fucking 100% solid and not moving at all. So yeah, the lockup, when you're holding it, you can't feel this shit move at all. Obviously, you know, a balisong, it's one of the strongest folding knife designs, because if you have a good grip on the knife, or if it's locked up right here, the only way the knife could break is if the blade snaps in half, or just the pins or whatever screws holding that shit together snap or break or whatever the fuck. So other than that, yeah, it has 100% lockup side to side. I can't feel anything at all. There's no blade play. Just the way I have it set up, the way I have it tightened down. So for the size of it, like I said, it's very smooth, considering it's a fucking 6-ounce knife. I'm going to try to show me flipping it a little bit. I'm going to pick up my phone. I usually don't try to pick up my fucking phone and move it around when I'm doing reviews, but because of this, you know, I want you to be able to see it a little bit better. The variants on this, like I said, they have the green, the first one was the blacked out Stonewash, and then they had the red version that I just seen. I don't know when the fuck they dropped those. And then I was on, well, they have the titanium version. It's like, I think it's aluminum and titanium, and they changed the fucking blade style. They made it like more of a spear point kind of sweeping down. I really wanted to get that. I was gonna buy that before I bought my Talisong, and then I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna buy the Talisong because it looks like it's gonna be a better flipper. Even though the titanium one, they lightened it up like 1.5 ounces or 1 ounce lighter. I think it's 5 ounces. And it's like blue titanium with aluminum, or I think they put carbon fiber on it or some shit. I don't know, but I was really surprised after seeing that knife. I went on Knife Center and I just looked up Lucha, and then I saw this knife. It was the same fucking knife, all stainless, you know, regular Stonewash. Same blade style, this kind of clip point kind of style blade, and the steel, it said 20 CV. And that's the steel that the titanium version comes with. And I was surprised. I was like, they have the same fucking knife, just in 20 CV. I didn't see it on Blade HQ or anything. And I think it's that one they're fucking charging like $200 for. $100 less than the titanium one. The titanium one is like the same price as the Flytanium Talisong. It's $300. So that one I was like, fuck no, I'm not gonna be buying that one, especially because the Talisong is the better flipper. But I was surprised seeing they had the same knife but in 20 CV, not the titanium spear point one, just like this, but 20 CV, and I think it's $200. I'm not sure. I need to double check that, but I was just like, yeah, that's pretty cool. But because of my experience with Kershaw's 20 CV, I'm assuming it's going to be the same kind of 20 CV that came on my link. If you haven't seen that review, then check it out if you want to know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it was performed negatively for me. The 14C on my Kershaw bare knuckle performed even better than that. So I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be buying a $200 version of this knife just because it has a better steel, which I'm not going to use it as an EDC knife. I just kind of fuck around and just flip it, and that's it. So yeah, those are the variants of it that I know of. And is it worth it for $130 just for this one? If you've never experienced it and you really want a Lucha, then I would say yeah. But if you're just trying to buy another one just for the fuck of it, you want two of the same one, I wouldn't want to pay $130 for the same fucking knife. The only one I'm gonna buy probably, if I'm gonna have two of them, is the OD green one. It's like stainless steel. It's just steel handles and OD green and 14C. So yeah, I might get that one, but 160 is really fucking expensive for me for that one. I'm gonna try to show a little bit of flipping with this. I'm a fucking mediocre flipper. I don't really know that much. For someone who's never fucking flipped at all, they'll probably think, oh yeah, you're all right. But yeah, it's really fucking heavy. It really beats the shit out of your knuckles. Let me try to do a little rollover. Compared to some other Talisongs, I would say it's balanced all right, but compared to like my Talisong or some shit, let me try to you can kind of do some aerials with it, not really. For me, I'm not that good with it, but I've seen other people fucking flip this shit all crazy, like it's a Benchmade or a Talisong or some shit. But yeah, I'm just alright with flipping this shit. My Talisong is way better for me on the balance and everything, and the way the handle is shaped, you can kind of maybe do some moves better. But like a Talisong that has rounded handles, you can do shit like that, let me see. You can do like fanning and shit better with the Talisong or a Talisong that has rounded handles. This one, it's not the best for fanning, well, at least for me. I really fucking suck. But yeah, I can kind of do Let me see. That move like that I was doing in one of my other videos. It's called the kiss goodbye, but I can only kind of do like maybe 3/4 of the trick. The ending part, you're supposed to like fucking, oh shit. You're supposed to like throw it over your fucking ring finger and balance it and then flip it back up and then catch it like that. And then you're supposed to finish it doing like an index roll or some shit like that. But yeah, I can pretty much just do that beginning part of it or halfway through, yeah, whatever. So yeah, just wanted to show a little bit of flipping. That's why I like having it dull, because in case I stab myself with it or cut my, land on the edge, it's not gonna fuck me up as bad. But if you have enough force or you're gripping it enough or, throwing it around with a lot of force, it could really fucking, it could still stab you with the dull point, and it would fuck you up even more than having a sharp blade, like how much it's gonna hurt. Yeah. All right then. That's my Kershaw Lucha 2-year review. Later.